It was an ordinary day. You woke up as always. Went to brush your teeth. Looked at yourself in the mirror and decided that you should lose a few extra pounds. And it's a damn good decision. Since excess weight, in addition to what interferes with our daily life, is also the cause of many diseases. Atherosclerosis, diabetes, sleep apnea, fatty liver disease, arthritis, as well as heart disease, and many other diseases. The first step in the right direction has been taken, you have made a decision. But what to do next, where to start? The first thing that comes to mind is to go to the gym to see a trainer and at the same time see a nutritionist. You came to the gym full of determination. However, after a few minutes you realize that this is not quite what you wanted. Working like hell in the gym, and eating nothing but weed, isn't a fun prospect. But is it worth it to go to the gym that you can't stand? Coaches and nutritionists have already opened their mouths to your hard-earned money and of course are ready to write individual training programs and diets for you personally. Stop. After you watch this video, you will have basic knowledge about being overweight and how to deal with it. It's much easier than you think. You absolutely do not need a trainer and nutritionists. Let's go. First of all, you need to understand that fat does not appear from nothing. Excess energy we get from food is stored in fat cells as triglycerides. Fat cells store excess energy for later use. We can say that fat is a kind of energy bank. So, if we spend less energy than we consume, this leads to the accumulation of adipose tissue. And vice versa. If energy expenditure is greater than intake, this results in a decrease in fat. This is the golden rule and the key to weight loss. The next thing we need to figure out is from what sources the muscles get energy for their contractions. And what influences the choice of one or another energy source. During physical work, our muscles require energy. The role of fuel for our muscles is played by adenosine triphosphate. ATP. We can say that ATP is energy. Our muscles need adenosine triphosphate no matter what kind of work we do. I mean intensity, power and duration of work. But the sources from which adenosine triphosphate is synthesized are different. This fact plays a crucial role in our understanding of weight control. If the muscles perform short-term work lasting 1 to 3 seconds, then the adenosine triphosphate reserves located directly in the muscle tissue serve as an energy source. After the stores of adenosine triphosphate in the muscles are depleted, adenosine triphosphate begins to be synthesized from creatine phosphate, another substance that is also located in the muscles. The rate of breakdown of creatine phosphate, and hence the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate, is directly proportional to the intensity of the work performed and the magnitude of muscle tension. The next source for the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate is glycogen, which is found in muscle tissue, as well as free glucose, which is present in the blood. The above reactions of the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate occur without the participation of oxygen. Therefore, they are called anaerobic. When glycogen stores in the muscles are depleted, the glycogen stored in the liver becomes the source of energy for working muscles. However, oxygen is required for the synthesis of ATP from liver glycogen. Therefore, at this stage of energy generation, the respiratory system is actively involved in the work. It takes an average person 40 to 60 minutes to use up all the glycogen stores in the liver. It depends on the individual characteristics of the organism and also on the intensity of physical activity. Finally, we have reached our goal. Fats are the next source for ATP synthesis. Fats are broken down to free fatty acids by the action of the lipase enzyme, and ATP is synthesized from free fatty acids under the action of oxygen. The use of fats as an energy source is typical for long-term cyclic loads of low and medium intensity. The synthesis of ATP from liver glycogen and from fats refers to aerobic reactions, since oxygen is needed for their course. So, now consider all of the above on the example of running. We started. In the first 3 seconds, we used up all the ATP reserves in the muscles. If the start is sharp enough, creatine phosphate comes into play next. Its reserves are enough for us on average for 30 seconds. After the stores of creatine phosphate are used up, the next source for the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate is the stores of glycogen in the muscles. This only happens if the run is intense enough and our respiratory system is not yet ready to provide our body with enough oxygen. One of the end products of the breakdown of muscle glycogen in this anaerobic reaction is lactic acid. The most important fact is that the accumulation of lactic acid blocks the synthesis of ATP from fats. Thus the next source for ATP synthesis is liver glycogen in aerobic mode, that is with the participation of oxygen. It should be noted that while our body uses glycogen in the liver as a source of ATP synthesis in an aerobic mode, anaerobic energy sources are restored. If we want to make a dash during our run, we will switch back to anaerobic energy sources. But here we are back to the previous pace of running. Our body again uses glycogen in the liver for ATP synthesis, and anaerobic energy sources are restored. Finally, the glycogen stores in the liver ran out. This took an average of 40 to 60 minutes. Now it's the fats. But can we immediately get to our goal, bypassing the long process of depleting glycogen stores in the liver? Yes. But then we will have to bypass the process of ATP synthesis from muscle glycogen, because as mentioned earlier, it is during this process that lactic acid accumulates, which prevents the body from burning fat. To do this, we need to fulfill 3 conditions. Smooth start. Low intensity load. Absence of shortness of breath. Walking is the best way to fulfill all 3 conditions. So, let's get down to business. The first thing we need is to buy orthopedic shoes, to avoid the detrimental effects of long-term cyclic loads on the knee joints. Second, take a leave of absence from work. This will help at the initial stage easier to transfer loads. While this step is optional, it will definitely lift your spirits. Then you need to go to a shelter for stray dogs and become a volunteer, committing to walk your 4-legged friends daily. Perhaps you will even find a pleasant unexpected acquaintance. So we solve the problem of wasting energy, avoiding a terrible time in the gym. You can go for walks, listen to your favorite music or audiobooks, enjoy beautiful views, help an animal shelter, and burn fat at the same time. Let's start with a 1-hour walk 3 times a day. You can increase energy expenditure, and therefore fat burning, by complicating the route or increasing the time of the walk. But remember, shortness of breath should not be. Great. But what about nutrition? After all, even if you walk all day, but in the evening you eat to satiety, weight loss is out of the question. The main thing is a calorie deficit, which is possible only if the energy that we spend is more than the energy that we get from food. To burn 1 kilogram of subcutaneous fat, we need to spend 7,700 kilocalories. That is, if a calorie deficit is 1000 kilocalories per day, then in order to get rid of 1 kilogram of fat we need 8 days. Of course, we can calculate the calorie content of our diet, as well as how much energy we spend. But plunging into all this, we will have less and less time for everyday life. In addition, we will have to force ourselves to give up delicious food every day, and this is very difficult. But there is an easier way. We only need to use our willpower once a month and give half of the money we spend on food to charity. So we do not have to fight the temptation to eat something high-calorie every day. We just won't have the money for it. So, we learned everything you need to know about weight control, and got a wonderful basic recipe that will help you lose a couple of extra pounds without straining. Based on the knowledge gained, you can work on yourself independently. The result depends only on your perseverance and the magnitude of the daily calorie deficit. But do not overdo it. An excessively fast result can not only reduce your weight, but also significantly undermine your health. I can already see how angry comments from haters are pouring in that I said absolutely nothing about the Krebs cycle, about the transport systems of creatine and L-carnitine, about the important role of vitamin B5, and also did not mention hormones and many other important points of metabolism at all. But the purpose of this video is not to win a Nobel Prize in biochemistry, or a gold medal at the Olympiad. Our goal is to gain basic knowledge about the transformation of energy in our body, and the ability to control our weight. It's just terrible that everyone wants only one thing, money. In addition, there are many cases when people came to get rid of excess weight, and because of the incompetence of trainers, they lost their health. I hope that this video will help people learn the truth about being overweight and cope with their problem while enjoying life and at the same time helping homeless animals.